All right, here with Washington State women's basketball head coach Kamie Ethridge. Coach, your team is back at home this Friday. You're rekindling a long rivalry here at Washington State between the Montana Grizzlies. Just what are you expecting to see out of the Grizz this weekend, and how is your team preparing for Montana?
Yeah, what a good question. I mean, obviously you go from one game to the next and try to fix the things that you see in the last game that we didn't do well, and kind of fix ourselves, and then clearly look for tendencies that we're going to see against a Montana team that we know will come in here really hungry and wanting to take a bite out of a Pac-12 type school. I think that's the thing that that this team will come in here really wanting to beat us on our home floor. So they're a good team. Brian does a great job. I think they do a little bit different than what we've seen, dribble drive offense. So they really spread you out and try to drive you. They got people that can shoot the three. They've shot more threes than we have this year, and I think we shoot a lot of them. So it's a difficult matchup in the sense that, gosh, you gotta play great one-on-one defense, and if you help out too much and off too much, you're going to give up a lot of threes, which is what they want you to do. So tough matchup, something we really haven't seen this year in that dribble drive, and we're going to have to play it well and be really good one-on-one basketball defenders.
If you do have a question for Coach Ethridge, please raise your hand. We'll go ahead and start with Jamie Vinnick at CougFan.com. Go ahead, Jamie.
Coach, you mentioned Montana does some different things than what you've seen. What does that kind of preparation look like when you've kind of maybe focused on one side of what a team can do and now have to see something a little different?
Yeah, I mean, part of dribble drive is just, we have a ton of screen schemes, like ball screen kind of schemes. We can play it a lot of different ways. We practice that nonstop. And dribble drive has some of that. So I feel we're prepared for some of that, but they set blurs, they set rub screens. They're not really screens, but they exchange in a way that the guy that's guarding the ball gets clipped a little bit, and the guy that is kind of running through with the guy clipping it needs to catch it. And you have to have great teamwork to try to catch that without, giving up a direct line basket, a direct line layup to the basket. So it's out of the flow. So it's not like, here they come, here comes a blur, everybody get ready, catch it. It's like, it's within the offense, it's out of the flow. They create these double and triple gaps that, again, if they get going downhill, it's almost impossible to stop. And if you do stop it, you're probably fouling them and putting them to the line. So it's not that, I mean, there's a lot of people that do some version of this in the pack, and everybody in the country probably does some version of dribble drive and attacking the rim. But, having a scheme and having your team really prepared for, you don't know when that kind of screening action is going to happen, that kind of blur action is going to happen. And you better just have, great fundamentals on your defensive side of the ball to be able to pick it up and defend it well. So we've spent a little bit of extra time on that kind of thing to prepare for Montana and other people that we'll see in the future.
Where do you kind of see a place where maybe offensively you can exploit them in terms of, are they weak against the perimeter? Are they weak in the post? Is this a game where Bella might be able to kind of keep imposing her will?
I think the thing that it's not so much Montana can't do this or can't do that. It's more, I mean, we scored 3 points in the first quarter against South Dakota State. And I don't care who you're playing, you have to be able to score more points than that. And it was us looking at that quarter and just going, what happened? Was it just South Dakota State, or was that completely and totally, a lot of us? And it was kind of the second. It was kind of, we didn't flow well from trying to run it up the floor to, knowing spacing on the floor and how to play out of that. We got real sloppy and undisciplined. Everybody was on a different page as far as, what they were doing. So we were real disconnected. And so I think it's more that it's not, I mean, that was us probably being too amped up, not being directed enough, not, quite frankly, not being disciplined enough in how we want to go from running the ball and transitioning the ball into, sets or spacing that we know how to play out of. And we just did a bad job of that. So I think it's more us fixing ourselves in the discipline from early offense into, the last 20 seconds of the shot clock. First 10 seconds, go try to score something easy. But how do you go from that into the things that we know and like to do and play out of? And we just did a really bad job against South Dakota State. Got a lot better as game went on. But I really think that to us, when we look at ourselves, we have to eliminate those quarters where we get, under 20. We're looking for 20 points a quarter. And so we've got to find ways to be more disciplined on the offensive end.
You mentioned on Monday, Ula was a little bit under the weather, maybe wasn't 100%, played limited minutes. Do you expect her in full tomorrow?
She ended up worse the next day. That was Monday. Tuesday, she practiced, or I don't even know the days. She ended up, she practiced today. She took yesterday off. I think we were off on Tuesday. She felt okay on Tuesday, and then started feeling worse as the day went on, was pretty bad on Wednesday, and then came back and practiced today. So yes, we feel pretty good about her. Lingering effects of what everybody's going through, some of the lung stuff and stomach stuff, but she seems good to go.
And then any update on when you'll have Jessica Clark back?
I think it's probably the end of the month. I think we'll probably shoot for the Pac-12. She's on a good pace. Things are working well. She's adding activity level. But it's a long way from the cutting and getting in shape and being in basketball, being seasoned and ready to go. But I would venture to say that it's going to be closer to Pac-12 play in January, not Washington.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks so much.
All right, Coach, we appreciate your time. Best of luck on Friday against the Grizz. We'll talk to you after the game. Until then, go Cougs.
Go Cougs. Thank you.